So hi everyone, welcome to Member Stories. This is the series created by the Atelier community where we celebrate the creatives who dedicate themselves to creating a better future and discuss their work as well as what community means to them. So today I'm joined by the wonderful Aude Penouty from France. And Aude is a French lingerie fashion designer, and she's also the founder as well as the creative director of Entada Textile, which is a very comprehensive, fully equipped creative sourcing consulting agency dedicated to sustainable projects, sustainable fashion. And I've been following Aude's work for a while now. And, before you joined the Trend Atelier community. And I'll just say a little bit about your journey, which is really interesting and really international as well. You were working for several years for different organizations, and in 2014, you started your own brand and agency, Entada Textile. But you kind of had a shift in 2019 when you came back to Europe after 7 years of working in Asia and became what you call yourself. And this is a term we hear around, which I find incredibly interesting and interdisciplinary. You are a cultural broker. And this is really about understanding the systemic approach in sustainable fashion, which is so layered and needs to be diverse. And really the intersection of being a cultural broker like yourself means you're both anchored in research, in trends, which coexist with fabric innovations, which also lead to product and manufacturing solutions. And so there are sort of 4 strands and actions that inform your agency, Entada Textile, which she'll tell us more about, but I find so interesting and really resonate with me because myself as a relational practice, I see all the different things we have to work on, but you're anchored in creation, research, writing, and transmission. So I'll pass the mic over to you, Aude, to tell us a little bit more about your work and to help us shine a light on what you do, which is incredibly diverse.
Thank you, Geraldine, and hi everyone from France, where is still a bit summery, as you may see.
Nick, and you're wearing something very
because it's pretty hot actually.
Yeah.
Still. Well, thank you for the introduction. That's very, very nice to hear from you, all those things. I don't realize that I'm doing so much actually. But yeah, I do have a journey as a designer who worked a lot abroad in factories, in collaboration with trends offices and stuff like this. And also I have a very strong temper in entrepreneurship. So that's how I started my own businesses, because I started 2 brands actually. I designed some wedding dresses. I'm a lace lover, so I design lingerie, but also for a certain time I designed wedding dresses. And then because I was on the field in Asia, and I understood that working in the ecosystem of fabrication, meaning from the sourcing, design, bulk issues, and so on. In addition on my belief in sustainability, I was really in the heart of production. And I was asked by both factories and brands for my skills in being on the field. So that's how I created Entada Textile, and I created this consulting office. And after a while, I stopped my brands because I couldn't manage everything. And I realized that I was really attracted in actually being in such a diverse universe instead of being in my own brand. So that's how I started. And you mentioned the cultural broker things. It's something which is sometimes very awkward for French people to use like some English words to describe, or English concept to describe your work. But I use those words because a broker is someone who knows the market, use the intuition as a data, but is also an intermediary in between customer and suppliers. And he has to be a bridge, and he has to use the ecosystem that he managed to sell something or to create something. And just my journey went through Africa, USA, Italy, Southeast Asia, and I came back to France. So I realized that both the culture from the origins, being from, I don't know, being from London or being from Paris or whatever, sometimes you have to take in account the culture when you create something or when you talk to someone. But also, you don't talk the same way to a designer, to someone from the sourcing department, or to someone doing the purchases. And that's whole put together that became this melting pot in my way of working. If it makes sense.
I think that's fascinating and so important. It's very rare to have someone like yourself that has such insider experience. I know for myself, working in future forecasting, but now also working quite far future trends, I started out, you know, developing collections, spending a lot of time in Hong Kong or in Guangzhou or maybe sometimes in Portugal or just different in actual factories. And that has informed the way I approach trends and when I work with people in the design. And I think it's so amazing that you have that on the ground insider knowledge. You know, obviously with the way the world is at the moment, you might not be going to Asia as often, but still you understand the cogwheels, and that's so important. It's not because we might be you know, brokering a new kind of creative direction for a brand that we shouldn't also really know about what goes into the complexities of a fashion brand, especially working in sustainability like yourself and understanding the systemic approach and all the different levels. And so I know, like through our conversations, even behind the scenes, of just some of the things that you're doing, because you're very intentional in your responsibility around climate change and working in fashion, and even just facing quite head on some of the challenges. But could you tell us a bit more about your mission?
I do have different kind of missions. The only thing I've learned, and I would like to tell just after what you said, it's when you believe in something, as I believe in sustainability because I've been abroad in very poor countries and I've seen that this is real. This is, but there is one thing which doesn't work, and if you go against the context of other people, and that's also something very important that I do in my missions. And to answer your questions, it's very diverse. Because I understood being back to Europe, the competition was really much harder, and I had to adapt myself also to another kind of market. So I put more options in my way of working. So when I do trends, for instance, I'm color expert for one fabric fair in France, which is dedicated to lingerie. It's called Interfilière, and there is one fair in Paris, one in Shanghai. And together we gather ideas about colors, but also about the market, how the way it goes, innovations in dyes, all those kind of things. So it's a lot of research, it's a lot of readings, it's a lot of listenings, it's a lot of talkings with suppliers, scientists also who are developing those new kind of fabrics, new kind of colors. So it could be this kind of missions. It could be very very strong design work, like when I work for a brand and they ask me to design swimwear. Usually now I work with new brands because I think their vision is super interesting. And I don't know how it is in England, but in France, most of the new designers actually creating brands, they doesn't have design background. They have marketing background that comes from luxury, all those kind of universes, but they are not able to design something. So they need someone like me to drive them, at least for the first collections. So I work this way also for designs. I also do some designs for factories sometimes, which are willing to target a specific kind of brand. What else? I'm sourcing fabrics, obviously. I love to discover new things, and that's I take the fabric at the beginning of any kind of projects, because I've learned that the fabric will decide which kind of design you can do with it, and not the opposite. So this is the way that I work, and that's also why I love fabrics. I also look for workshops or factories to match the projects. And last but not least, that's something I'm doing for 2 years now. I'm writing content for magazines, for fairs. And because of the situation last year of lockdown and all those things, I've been staying at home more than I expected. So actually I was thinking about, okay, the ecosystem means that we will have to change our way of source. We will probably face new kind of customers, because a lot of people unfortunately lost their jobs. They decided to change the kind of lives that they had. They are not coming from design background. So that's this new panel of customers also. And I wrote a masterclass that I already mentioned to you, which is called the Systemic Approach of Sustainable Sourcing, because I really wanted to share what I've learned on the field. It's not more than that, but I really like to share what I've learned, because this is what I do in schools. For instance, sometimes I give this masterclass, and this is very interesting because you take what people understand from what you say, and what I like to share, it's okay, I'm saying that because this is my context, but your context is different. So please don't take anything that I say for granted. You have to make it yours. You have to make it yours. So this is super interesting also to exchange, and it makes the culture, traveling. That's the kind of mission that I do.
No, it's amazing how you have an educational component to what you do, which obviously resonates a lot with me as well. And I think it's part of what a lot of companies, even big companies, are now doing when you look at caring classes as well with common objective. So it's really interesting, this idea of not only being the expert on the field, but also sharing the knowledge, because people are thirsty for that knowledge, and there's so much to rewrite and relearn at the moment. There's so much opportunity to not necessarily say, I have the end all be all knowledge in this, but say, this is my experience, and you can learn from my context, and then you can adapt it, like you said, to your context. It's really, really fascinating. I mean, you're so entrepreneurial, and it just seems like everything comes obviously with a set of challenges, but you're ready to face it. But I'm always curious in our series to ask our guests about what challenges they've experienced, because I think that's something that we all relate to. Even the people who appear the most successful and the most together have had like a lot of challenges. So I'm just wondering if you want to share with us like some of the challenges you've experienced in your journey.
There's two kind of big challenges I've experienced, I would say. The first one is loneliness, because when you drive your own company, you have to, it takes time sometimes until you find the first projects, until you find the right collaborators and stuff like this. And you need to think about everything. And also, and you know that better than I do, working on trends, most of the time you are in advance of what people will ask for. So it's very difficult to give a message that people sometimes are not ready to listen. And they don't believe in that. If you have told me like 10 years ago, I would have worked on second-hand projects for lingerie, I would have not believed, but this is happening. So loneliness is also in the way that sometimes the reaction of customers, you have to do your job and to say, I believe this is the direction. And they are not ready to face that. So this is a kind of loneliness also. And then having so many caps to wear, the financial things, everything. But at the same time, I feel very lucky because first in France, being an entrepreneur, you are very helped if you are productive, if you really move forward, and if you really invest in terms of time or whatever in your company, there is securities in France, like the health insurance is for free, those kind of things. So I guess it helps to be very practical. But that's, loneliness and the fact you have to think like 360 all the time. That's the two big challenge. But then there is, thanks to technologies and internet, there is communities like ours. You can do mind meetings with your friends and those kind of things. So there is solutions.
It's so powerful that you talk about loneliness. It's something that hasn't necessarily come up that much in our conversations. I think not because we don't want to talk about it in the community, but I think because it's almost like a given somehow.
Maybe.
This sounds a bit strange, but I think being an entrepreneur or a solopreneur is somewhat of a lonely place because you're doing everything yourself. And I read about this syndrome recently. It's called the Superman syndrome, where you just do everything yourself. And it's nice to learn how to ask for help or receive help and be very open to support. And because I found myself, I can, like you said, very lonely, and then getting to that stage where I need, a mentor, or I need someone who can coach me, even if it's not all the time, or a community or whatever it is. Because sometimes also you have a feeling you're doing the right thing, but you just need to talk about it to be sure that, because, every decision you make is important. So having that other perspective, like you said, other context of other people, their own lens, it's just so helpful, even whether it's from someone who doesn't have as much as experience from you, or has more experience, whatever it is. So thanks for sharing that, because that's like so true, so in a kind of deep way. And I guess also I suppose maybe the loneliness of feeling very convinced that this is important, even if the other person on the table is not seeing that. It requires a lot to kind of hold your ground at the same time, but meet the other person halfway. It's real dance, especially also if your livelihood kind of depends on that,
Definitely.
How do you navigate that line of not selling out, but also getting the adoption from the other side is really,
That's why for me there is one crucial point. It's to create an entourage, to create a community around yourself, because I take pretty much all the decisions, but I'm not alone to work anymore. I have a business partner next year. I start to work with freelancers and those kind of things. And you catch what I wanted to say. It's more about thinking about everything and taking the decisions. And this is sometimes pretty difficult. But that also, the beauty of this challenge, when you are an entrepreneur, it's like somehow you're ready to share something you believe in. So
and I guess the freedom as well. Yeah. But I guess that would lead me to my next question, which is just to, find out from you how the Atelier community has supported you and the connections you've made. Because I remember in the beginning, you were like, I don't know if this will be exactly for me, but I'm going to give it a try. And so I kind of, in the back of my mind, I thought, oh, it's okay. She can just see if she feels like it's the right fit for her, because I guess maybe, and in the end, it's like been months now and you're still with us, which is so exciting. And I mean, I don't mind sharing this, it's true. It's like, it's a bit like a glove that has to fit, but I would love to know, and for other people to know as well.
I was saying that more in terms of time to involve.
Yes, that's right.
I don't have so much time to involve in different kind of communities. But I think, first of all, I've digitally met you before the community. We have a common friend, and I strongly believe in what she does and the way she does. And the way she does it, sorry. And so I knew that I will learn from this context. I would learn from you, I would learn from the community. That's why I was interested in. And when now what I feel, it's I made it adaptable to what I can share. I cannot commit to so many things, so I'm not registering to all the events you are offering. I don't read everything, to be totally transparent, but I found super great tools. I found very nice support. You were saying, like, behind the scene, we also sometimes exchange things. And for me, being French, even if I've been a citizen of the world, I think a glance from UK and from an English speaking, perspective, it's super interesting, because I love my country, I love being French, but sometimes I feel super bored, having only French people surrounding me. So the kind of open-mindedness that the British or the American have, that I love. As long as I can make it mine, and balance it into my schedule, I'm happy.
No, that's great. It's true. And we have people from South America and the Baltic countries and Asia, and it's really international. It's true. I mean, it's great to have your perspective as well. As a French person, I know what you mean, because French people are amazing at preserving tradition and craft, but that can also has like a kind of, that can backfire, where sometimes people are trying too much to preserve, and whereas in America or England, we're the opposite. We don't preserve enough, but then it leads to other good things where we're quite open to change. But that's really wonderful to hear. And I was just wondering if you could tell us a bit more about what you're working on, or sort of what's next for you. And obviously we're going to share the links of where people can find you, but I'm sure that you've always got something new and exciting, even if it's within the umbrella of what you're already doing.
Well, now I'm working a lot of editorial content. I'm writing a lot about innovations in sourcing and what next steps will be, because I have a strong analysis from what is going on in countries, the labels, the new laws coming, the technical aspects. So I write a lot about that. And I'm now working also for a big luxury group, and I'm finding innovative solutions for them for sourcing, so the kind of fabrics that they need, but also solutions for recycling fabrics, dyes, laminations, all those kind of things. That's a thing that I do. And I start new collections of swimwear for next year. Also, I start to design that. And as I was telling previously, in 2022, I might to get a business partner, and we are working on that together. So it's behind the scene, it's backstage. So we are working a lot about admin, what we want to do together, and it's a task which is very important to find, to trace the foundations, to build the foundations. So I'm pretty busy with that at the moment.
Quite a lot, but all really, really exciting and very,
I'm happy
as well. Very important work. Well, it's been wonderful to have you today.
Thank you.
Really excited about what's next. And I guess it's been wonderful having you as a member and having your perspective. And also because we have some people in the community, many of them are strategists or future forecasters. They don't necessarily understand the complexities of the fashion machine and all the moving parts in the supply chain. But having people like yourself or Nalini Arora or other designers who are just sourcing, who are doing future trends. It just shows how everything is connected, and yeah, it's been really great having you today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Okay, well, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.